7 episodes of Star Trek. The original series, Season 3, you can completely skip. By the time Star Trek, the original series reached its third season in 1968, the show was limping toward the finish line. The budget was slashed, Gene Roddenberry had largely stepped back, and NBC had moved the series to a dreaded Friday night death slot. Despite this, Season 3 still produced some classics like The Enterprise Incident and Day of the Dove. But for every gem, there were episodes that fell flat, whether because of sloppy scripts, dated premises, or outright absurdity. If you're rewatching TOS and don't want to slog through the low points, here are 7 episodes from Season 3 you can skip without missing much of the story or Star Trek canon. 1. Spock's Brain. This infamous season premiere has gone down in history as one of Trek's most mocked hours. The plot? Aliens steal Spock's brain and use it to run their underground computer system. Kirk, McCoy, and the crew spend the episode trying to recover it. While it's unintentionally hilarious at times, it's also a painfully slow story that reduces the Enterprise crew to cartoonish caricatures. McCoy shouting, "I can't reattach a brain," before conveniently doing it anyway encapsulates the absurdity. You won't lose anything by skipping this episode, except maybe a few laughs at its sheer silliness. 2. And the Children Shall Lead. Whenever Star Trek features creepy kids, the results are mixed at best, and here it's a disaster. After a colony's adults die mysteriously, the children are manipulated by an alien named Gorgon, played by Melvin Belli, who wasn't even an actor but a famous lawyer. The kids chant, wave their arms, and take over the Enterprise with laughably simple gestures. The idea of innocence corrupted by alien influence could have been compelling, but the execution is flat, the villain is campy rather than menacing, and Shatner seems like he's phoning it in. Unless you're a completist, you can pass on this one. 3. The Way to Eden. Better known among fans as the Space Hippies episode, The Way to Eden is a product of its time, and not in a good way. A group of counterculture wanderers hijacks the Enterprise in search of a mythical paradise planet. What could have been a thoughtful reflection on the clash between idealism and practicality instead turns into a cringeworthy caricature of hippie culture. Songs, bad dialogue, and barefoot dancing make it one of the most dated episodes in Trek's history. While it offers an interesting showcase for Spock's patience and empathy, you're better off skipping this groovy misfire. 4. The Mark of Gideon. This episode tries to grapple with the theme of overpopulation but ends up as a muddled mess. Kirk beams down to what he believes is Gideon, but he instead materializes on a replica of the Enterprise, alone. The setup is intriguing, but the payoff is both confusing and unsatisfying. Gideon's people want Kirk to spread disease to reduce their crowded population, but the story leans so heavily on repetitive shots of Kirk wandering empty corridors that it becomes a slog. The moral point is there, but buried under clumsy writing and lackluster execution. 5. The Empath. Minimalist sets can sometimes lead to powerful storytelling. Unfortunately, The Empath proves the opposite. The episode strands Kirk, Spock, and McCoy in a bare black void, where alien overseers conduct morality tests using a mute empath named a gem. The message about sacrifice and compassion is admirable, but the execution is painfully slow. Long stretches of silence and theatrical staging make it feel more like a cheap stage play than an episode of Star Trek. Unless you're curious about one of the strangest production choices in TOS, it's an easy skip. 6. Plato's Stepchildren. This episode is remembered mainly because it contains television's first interracial kiss between Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura. That moment is historically significant, but the episode surrounding it is one of the season's weakest. Kirk and company encounter a group of telekinetic aliens modeled after the ancient Greeks, who amuse themselves by humiliating the crew. What follows is a series of degrading antics, Kirk prancing like a horse, Spock singing, McCoy being tormented, that undercuts the dignity of the characters. Watch the famous scene in isolation if you want, but don't sit through the rest. 7. That Which Survives. On paper, this one has promise. The Enterprise crew explores a planet where a mysterious woman kills with a touch. In practice, it's repetitive and dull. Every time Losira, The alien projection appears, the same scenario plays out. She announces the target, reaches out, and someone dies or almost dies. The lack of variation makes it feel like the episode is stuck on repeat. Meanwhile, the B-plot of Scotty trying to save the ship from destruction drags without generating much tension. The bottom line. Season 3 of the original series was hampered by slashed budgets, weak scripts, and burnout from both cast and